Hey folks, Foggy here. Welcome to day 339 of my Euro Solo board gaming, considered by many to be ill-advised and stupid. We are playing Banned Books, which is a button shy game. This is from P&P Arcade. Got this on their Black Friday sale or Cyber Monday sale. I'm finally able to use my crafting printer. Thanks to my wife, she got me a crafting printer for Christmas, and so now I can have nice looking books or cards, I will say. Unfortunately, I figured out that also button shies, the way that they do their. It took me a few tries to get printing right, and I did not cut these right as well. So I've insurmountable here. I'm going to be doing that one next. And I'm trying to figure out a good cutting strategy for this because they have this weird gap in here that you have to account for. But I think cut this way first so you can get both these done. And then you can start cutting this way because you'll still at least have all of these check marks over here. So live and learn. We have the way that this game works. This is Banned Books, and it's going to seem very similar to Twin Stars. You're going to start by competing against these powers that be, and I did confirm that you are starting on one. And you are playing a character, a literary character that has been subject to bans. So in this case, I'm playing as Huck Finn. You'll have 3 action points to work with, and you can do various actions throughout here, but they vary based on where they are. So this is on lane 1, costs 1 action point. This lane 2 costs 2 action points, and then finally 3 action points over here. And since you only have 3, you're never going to get to 4 and 5. When you use an action point, it'll move to the end and get flipped over. Flipped over cards you cannot then use. That is something that is not very clear in the instructions, but according to the designer, that is the intent, that you cannot use. Let me just adjust that a little bit. You cannot use a flipped over card. So if this is flipped over, you can't use it. So something to keep in mind. You also, in addition to the action points that you have to activate these actions, you also can use whatever action points you don't use as movement points. For a movement point, you can either move a card 1 space to the right and flip it over, so this would become like this, or you can flip over a card. So if this is like this, I can use 1 action point to flip this back over. So this is going to be an interesting game. During the process of this game, you do not, I then think, slide the line back down. So if I use stall, I can't then move the whole thing down. This becomes heal, and I can then use that action. It moves to the end, then I can use heal for 2, and that moves to the end as well. So something to keep in mind. At least I could not find anything that denied that. The action abilities that I have are to stall. Basically, you take one of these yellow tokens, you put it on top of their token, and they do not advance at the end of the round. Heal, basically you move your stamina up 1 space. You start on, each character has a different starting point. Huck starts on 3, which is pretty low. Ability means that you move your ability thing up by 1. So for example, I could move it up to here, here, and here, or use one of my abilities. So if it's at 1, I can accept, which is roll a dice and move your stamina to that number. So if I can roll it and it becomes a 6, yay. Deceive means reverse the order. It means instead of 1, 2, 3, it becomes 3, 2, 1, which I would imagine is helpful when you combine that with the ability to move cards to the right. And then finally, progress. When you have progress in one of these, you can either move any of your tokens 1 space forward, or you can move it in that lane that number of spaces forward. So I can move this 3 spaces, 2 spaces, 1 space. Advance the progress token in this lane, yada yada. Flip means that you'll flip all the other cards face down that are face down, face up. And this becomes face down at that point. Now you can use this action flip and then as a movement action flip it back over so nothing is flipped face down. Now the reason that face down counts is that at the end of your turn, you're going to roll this 6-sided dice, and based on the number that comes up, you're going to take whatever number this is. Let's say it's 6, because I've been rolling 1s with this all day. Let's say it's 6. You're then going to subtract the number of face down cards that you have. So if all 5 of them are face down, you're going to go to 1. If you're at 2, you're going to go down to 4. Each of these cards has a number range on it: 1, 1 to 2, 1, 2, 3. And if the dice comes up after you've adjusted it in that range, you're going to move that power that be 1 space. So this will move 1 here. If it's a 3, if it's a 2, both these 2 will move up. And then finally, if it's a 1, all of them will move up. There's tougher ranges on the back where it's like 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. We're playing with the easier ranges because this game is already hard enough as is. Where's my coffee? I'm looking for my coffee. There we go. Finally, if you advance a power that be, in a lane that has your symbol on it, Huck Finn has Obscenity, and Obscenity is on the progress card. You will lose 1 stamina as a result. And the idea is that you are trying to complete 2 of these cards before the powers that be complete 2 of the cards, and before you run out of health. So that is how the game works. Let's go ahead and get started with that lengthy rules explanation. We're going to pick some cards to work with here, and it's kind of difficult because I don't really see that much that I can do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and activate Stall here on this first one. So we'll move this down, and then I think I will go ahead and take the advantage of the heal to move myself up by 1. That uses up all of my abilities. So everything moves down. If I had any action points left, I could do movement, but I don't. So unfortunately, that's where that stands. So now we're going to roll. We have 2 face down cards, and so it's going to become a 2. These 2 advance. Now this one will advance 1, but because this had a stall token on it, they do not advance. All right, let's go ahead and go again. I've now got ability and progress. I think what I want to do is I want to activate progress first. Move that up here. And then we'll activate ability, which means I move there. That all moves to the end. I, again, do not have any action points left over. You'll notice that you do not see my my thing anywhere, my sign. And that is because, I think I mucked that up. I think I'm actually supposed to have 1 less stamina. So if your card is face up and the symbol's there, then you'll lose the stamina. If it's face down, there's no symbol showing. So I can't lose any stamina on this turn. Everyone will probably advance though, because we're going to be subtracting 4. So no matter what, yeah, and you can't go below 1. So with 4, it doesn't become -2, therefore it's outside of the range of all of these. It's still a 1, everybody advances 1. All right, so my first action is to flip all cards face down, face back up. All right, and then instead of a movement, or instead of any more actions, I'm going to keep my remaining action points. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this 1 card to the right. And when you move it to the right, you do then flip it over. And we're then going to flip over a card, and I think we're going to flip over, let's flip over flip. That'll be my other action. So those are all 3 actions. I activated flip, I moved that card to the right, and then I flipped over 1 card just to keep it active. So now I've got 1 face down card. We're going to move all these down. I am at risk here of losing some stamina though. 6, that's good. It comes up, -1 is 5. Nobody advances, which is thank the Lord. All right, so next up, we're going to take, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 for stalling. Actually, we'll do the progress first because I want the progress to stay like sort of before everything else. Progress will come first. So we're going to progress this lane. We get to progress at 2 because we're in the 2nd lane, so that's good. That's feels nice. But it did cost us 2 action points, and then we'll use the stall for the other one, and we'll just simply try to keep that character there. I could have used my 1 remaining action point to flip over banned books and the heal, which might have been a good idea, because that would have allowed me some healing on the next turn, because I'm probably going to... Oh, I'm not going to lose any stamina on this turn, unfortunately. So 1, everybody moves. Move up to 3, 4, and we remove the stall. All right, so... I could use all of my action points and flip this over. I think what I'm going to do instead yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this over like this, and everything else is going to get flipped over. I was worried about, like, when you do the movement to the right, do you then have to keep everything like further out to the right before you then slide everything down? But it doesn't really matter. The position of the cards matter when you're figuring out the action points, but once you move on to the movement phase, you can't do actions again. So that's something to keep in mind. So we're only losing 1 point here. I could, if this potentially comes up 1 through 4, I'm going to lose some stamina. Yeah, there we go. I lost some stamina. So this will move up by 1. This will move up by 1, and I lose 1 stamina. Right. The reason I was going to do it this way is that we are definitely going to do progress. This will be our only action this time, but I do move from 1 to 4. So even though this is difficult, like this costs so many action points, you get a lot of movement on this one if you plan it right. That'll get flipped over and outside there. So now 4 minus 2 is 2. We'll get 1 advancement on each of these. So I'm keeping on pace with this one, but this one's starting to become a little bit difficult. So we got our new turn here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with heal to get myself back up by 1. And I could do the ability. I feel like the ability is a really good idea, but then that's going to leave me at 4, and it's going to leave me really weak. It's going to put progress kind of in the right spot, though, but it won't be active. So it's kind of a tough call either way. I still have 2 action points overall, so maybe what I should do is this. We're going to move this to the right. Now, when you start off face down and you move to the right, you do get to put it face back up. And then we're going to flip progress here to face up. This all comes down. So now we only have 1 action point. I do leave myself vulnerable to yet another stamina. Yeah, there we go. Everybody's going to move up by 1. My biggest concern is this one over here. This is looking pretty nasty, and this is probably going to finish soon. But on my next turn, I'm going to jump up by 3 and move that to the end. 6 minus 2, 4. Nobody advances, thankfully. All right, so the question is, do I want to just go for finishing off lane 3? I feel like what I want is a stall. I'm going to stall this one because I need to start catching up there. And then I think I'm going to flip I'm going to move ability to here so that I get the cheap flip on this turn. All right, everybody moves down. This is not good. Everybody's going to move pretty much, unless I roll a 6. So everyone moves. And lane 2 is done. So the powers that be already have their first one. I'm going to activate flip. I'm going to go ahead and keep it that way for that and then flip this over. That'll be my second action, and I don't think there's anything else I can do. I can't really, like, there's no point in doing anything else, essentially. Yeah, so we're good there. Let's roll all these down. They're not getting any minuses. All right, good. Nobody moves. We're going to activate progress, and that completes me there. It's the only thing I can do for that one. 4 minus 1 is 3, so this activates that further. I don't think that I mean, technically I've completed this, so I don't think it really matters if they keep going. Is that right? Oh no, I can keep progressing along that track. So can they. All right, so that's good to know. That's good to know. All right, so What I really don't want is for them to finish up here. They're almost finished. I need to get this guy over here. So I think it's my turn. Did I go or not? I think I moved them. I'm hoping I moved them. All right, so what I need to do is I need to use I need to get progress over here. I don't think I can do it on this turn. I think what I need to do is I need to keep the stall token. I'm going to go ahead and use the stall. I'm going to use it on number 3 here. That'll move that to the end. And that is everything that I can do. I can't do any other action. I've used all 3 on that. 1, everybody moves, except everyone's stalled. So instead we're just going to do that. All right. I think what I want to do I'm going to use my ability to advance by 1. And then I get 2 actions. I'm going to go ahead and move flipped past progress as 2 movement actions. And then I'm going to flip this over like this, which is going to leave me pretty vulnerable, but it does put me in position to then move that forward. But at 3, I'm probably going to take some stamina here. Yeah, I'm going to take some stamina damage. That moves up by 1. That doesn't move at all. That moves up by 1. So this is not good because this is almost done. On this turn, though, I am going to move my token up by 2. Move that to the end. And then flip this. And then that's it for actions. So these come down. Everybody moves up 1, and that is going to finish off the game. All right, the powers that be have won. I was 1 away from getting onto that one. Had I been able to get to that point, I would have counted me as the winner. If you do this on the same turn, so the way that this works is that you do your turn and then the powers that be do their turn. At the end of the turn, if this is the situation, the powers that be still win. So the idea is that you have to get to the end of 2 tracks without the powers that be getting to the end of 2 tracks. In case of tie, powers that be win. So that is banned books. It's interesting. There are like 10 characters with this. It's interesting. I think I have to get used to it a little bit more. I think I have to just learn the mechanics of it a little bit better. It does seem pretty nasty, especially with this 1 through 3, and this is on the easy side. But I was also surprised how quickly I was able to move my folks along on the second 2 tracks. So that helped a lot. I'm sure there's some interesting mechanics here. There are also, I mean, we did not use Huck's ability at all. So essentially, I picked a very weak character to start off with. According to the designer, one of the best characters to start off with is Lenny, because Lenny's got 6 strength or 6 health, and then their basic ability is take the action of any face down card, and that's really powerful. Oh, wow. Strength. If you roll a dice, if you roll 1, 2, or 3, you may stall all of the powers. That's huge. So to be able to stall everybody is just an amazing help there. All right, so that is banned books. Folks, I will be back tomorrow. This is Alice, by the way. Only 2 female characters, by the way. That's a little disappointing. But I think that is just a reflection of American literature not having a whole lot of female characters to fall back on. There are expansions for this. I believe there are a lot of other characters. So that is that. I may reprint this out so I can trim it properly. You can see that some of these are extended a little too far, and that again is just because I did not cut it properly. But that is, we'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be playing some Unsurmountable. See you then.